Okay. Hey everybody, Colin here again. And we're going to take another look at the Voyager keyboard from ZSA. Last time we unboxed it, and this time we're going to take a look at changing the keycaps and the key switches in order to customize the keyboard to your liking. Now, normally you would... the majority of the cases, you're going to just be changing your keycaps, and it's fairly easy to do that. As you can see here, I have switched mine around from the default kind of QWERTY layout to a Norman layout, and I'll link to the information about that layout below. But the other thing I did is just kind of augmenting the kind of blank keys with the dot, like this one, with some of the provided keys that actually have specific legends on them. I don't really need that, but I think it just, I don't know, it just kind of, I liked the way it looked like this better. The other thing I did that you may notice is I replaced the larger kind of thumb switch keycaps that were, like, you know, when they arrived, they were kind of on these particular bottom keys. I replaced those with smaller ones, obviously because they don't have any kind of legended larger ones, but also because I found that with the large key, if you didn't hit it straight at the top or like right on the dot, and if you kind of hit it towards the bottom of the keycap, then just because of the size of it, I found that the switch didn't always engage, and it kind of felt like it was kind of, I don't know, bending or torquing a little bit the wrong way. So I find that the smaller keycaps, I don't know, just feel better. But I do find that some of these keycaps are a little bit less than smooth. And I mean, I think that's just what they're supposed to be. The brown key switches, the Kale Choco or Chalk Brown key switches are a little bit more clicky. So what I did is I bought a couple of red key switches to try and see how they feel, specifically on these thumb switches, and see if that makes any difference. So I'm going to switch those out, and you guys can follow along. The other thing that's worth noting is I have been using this off and on for the past 2 weeks, not kind of exclusively. I use my Moonlander at work most of the time, but anytime outside of work that I'm using a keyboard, I've been using this one. It's kind of replaced the plank as my secondary keyboard, and it's significantly more comfortable to work with. Hasn't been a great deal of learning curve, I found, especially if you've got some experience with the Moonlander. This has been quite a fairly painless adjustment. There are a few things, and I'll probably put a separate video up about my layout and kind of the different layers and some of the choices I made around that. I'm probably still not 100% settled on where I want to be, but the main kind of thing that I've had in my other keyboards is dedicated arrow keys on my base layer. I don't have that here, and that's been a bit of a learning curve, but surprisingly not as painful as I had expected it to be. Right. So that said, let's dig into the interesting bits. So I've got my key puller tool, like the one that was provided with the keyboard. Removing the keycaps is quite easy. You use the kind of the wire end, and you just slide it kind of around the top and bottom of the keycap, and then kind of just supporting the key, just pull it straight up. Don't kind of wiggle it back and forth. I mean, you can give it a little bit of wiggle if it's snug, but yeah, it comes straight up rather than anything kind of twisted or anything like that. And so you can see this is the key switch underneath. I'm going to take off the other one as well. Put those there, and then if like I'll put them back on, obviously when I finish up, but putting them back on is very simple. You just kind of, you know, line up these little posts with the holes in the key switch and just push them in. It's pretty simple. So yeah, don't be afraid to customize. I mean, that's kind of why you buy a keyboard like this, I suppose, is that you want that customization capability, and it's very easy to do that, especially with all the extra keycaps that were provided with the Voyager. So changing these switches is pretty simple as well. It's basically the same idea. You use the other end of the gadget, but I will say, because I've already changed out this switch with a different brown one, because I found the first one that was here was a little bit sticky, even for one of the brown ones, and this one was a lot better. But these particular ones on the bottom, on the thumb area, they're offset. There's a little kind of indentation in the case, and it's offset on these ones, so it's a little bit kind of trickier, I found, to get it out. But we'll give it a go. And so you stick the pry bar or the tongs, or I'm not sure what they're called exactly, into the little indents, and you kind of grab onto the keycap, the key switch, sorry, and similar to the keycap, just take them straight out. And so you can see there, I've got that out, and it exposes the board underneath. So I'm going to try this one. I remember the last time I did it, it felt a little bit like I was going to potentially cause some problems, because it wasn't coming straight out. It was in the middle, but it is over on the side. So the pins are over on the left-hand side of the switch. So that is the stuff. You don't want to damage those. There's a couple other posts as well. I mean, you don't want to damage anything, obviously. So let's proceed with. Okay, there we go. And so again, you just kind of clamp on and pull straight up, and voila, you have the. So I'm going to bring in the reds, and replacing them is basically just, putting the reds in place where the browns were, and you kind of line up the pins. It's pretty. I mean, like I said, it's pretty straightforward to do. Just kind of give it a little firm press. It will click in place, and everything will feel like it should. Okay, there we go. And one more. And I think that's what we'll just start with the thumb ones. I got a pack of 30 of these red switches, because that was the most convenient amount to get. All right, so we've replaced the key switches. Flip this one over, the old ones there. And then I'll just stick the keycaps back on. Pretty straightforward as well. You just kind of center them, make sure they're oriented the right way. The labels are typically at the top half of the cap. Just find the indentation with the posts. Space. And there we go. All done. So it's pretty straightforward, pretty simple. You don't have to, other than this tool that they provide with the keyboard, you really don't need anything else to do this simple change. And I will, like I said, I'll talk a little bit more about the rest of the keys and the layout in another video. But I just wanted to kind of show the experience with changing the keycaps, because I wanted to. Oh yeah, that feels a little bit. Yeah, I think there's a little bit less activation force on the reds. And I just, yeah, I think I found with some of my corded combos, yeah, I think that'll work a little bit better. So that's the ZSA Voyager keyboard with the keycaps changed. And we'll, like I said, we'll talk a little bit more about kind of an overall review of using it, as well as the various kind of customizations I've made in a separate video. Thank you very much.